Okay, Assalamu alaikum everybody. It's really, really lovely to be here. So Jazakallah khair for inviting me here to Masjid-e-Tawheed. And I know that this is part of Masjid-e-Tawheed, the Talimul Islam Madrasa. So Jazakallah khair for inviting me here. I'm very, very happy to be here because in the days I used to live around here, this used to be Summerfield. And I used to come here and I used to do my shopping in here, and it's really amazing. Did I know that 20 years later, that Summerfield is going to become a masjid? Alhamdulillah, that is amazing. And in those days, there was not that many masjids around here when I lived around here. And now I'm so happy how well established the masjids and the madrasas are here. I teach in a madrasa myself in Romford. But this madrasa, from what I've seen, is really, really well established. So I'm here especially today to talk to you about the Islamic perspective on relationships and homosexuality. I've already done a session for young children. This session is now for teenagers. So this one is a little bit more detailed. I am a qualified teacher and I am also a chaplain of a university where I come across LGBT all the time, and also I'm an alima as well, all qualified. So this is why I've been invited here. And what we're going to do is talk about the normal relationships first. And what happened was, this is before Islam came, all the previous messengers and prophets, they all preached basically the same as what is in Islam. But by the time Islam came, there were lots and lots of problems that were happening in Arabia. So here are some of the problems. There was sexual slavery going on. So women were being used as sexual slaves. There was prostitution going on, loads and loads of it. So women were being used without being married to them. They were being used. And money making was going on with the women as well by having relationships with men. Persecution of women. Women were not treated very well. The widows, did you know, were treated really badly. Widows actually died because they didn't have any money. When their husband died, it's the husband who provides for the family. Once the husband died, there was no finance within the family, so nobody wanted to marry them. Because in those days, did you know that women were being married for their money? So all that was going on as well. And then fornication was rife. Does anybody know what fornication is? Any ideas? Fornication is a very specific word, and it's to do with any relationships outside of marriage, when you're not married. So a girlfriend and a boyfriend relationship would come under fornication. Polygamy was rife. Polygamy is when a man has hundreds and hundreds of wives. In those days it was hundreds of wives because there was all this lust going on with the men. Okay? Women were not treated very well, so they were being used, and hundreds were being used as wives as well as mistresses as well. So the slaves, they were being used as mistresses. So you know, a slave is vulnerable and they don't usually have money, or they were being used for relationships with the men. Astaghfirullah. And any prisoners of war, if there was ever a war, the women were captured and then they were used for relationships. That is very, very wrong. Again, these prisoners of war were women who didn't have any finance, they didn't have any husbands to look after them. They were captured within war and then used for the wrong reasons. Lots and lots of bad was going on. And celibacy was going on. What is celibacy? Anybody? Come on, the children answered more questions than you. Do you want to tell us? What's celibacy? Anybody? Any of the teachers? Mabina, did you want to tell us? What's celibacy? You know, religious people like reverends, vicars, monks, Catholic nuns were not getting married. They regarded celibacy as better because they thought by getting married you spoil your religion. That was going on, okay? So when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came, all of that was stopped by him, okay? Marriage was strongly recommended. In fact, marriage for the first time in Islam was actually shown to be half of your faith, okay? So you complete half of your faith if you get married because it keeps you away from bad. There was respect, honor, and dignity given to women. And only legitimate halal way to indulge in intimacy between a man and a woman was to get married. Islam greatly encouraged the uphold of the family unit, which is really important. So for example, did you know that before Islam came, because of all these boyfriend-girlfriend relationships and all these other things that was going on, the children were being born out of wedlock. But when Islam came, it was strongly said that any children have to be born within marriage only. And did you know that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he stopped celibacy. He said in Islam there's no monks, no nuns, as in they're not allowed to get married, they all have to get married. So it was strongly recommended that everybody gets married. And for the first time it said in Islam, praise be to Allah who made marriage a noble tradition in Islam and a barrier between halal and haram. Okay, and that is actually said by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And any relationships outside of marriage is not allowed. Okay, so that would include adultery. So that means when you're married, okay, and then you have a relationship with another person. That is very, very bad in Islam. That is called adultery, okay? So that silly woman, kafir woman, okay, has gone outside of marriage and had an affair. And did you know that in the hadith it says if a married person commits illegal sex, the punishment is to stone them to death. That is according to Allah's law. That's in Sahih Muslim, book 17, hadith number 4192. So everybody is actually asked to get married to stop their desires. So Abdullah reported that Allah's Messenger said to us, young men, those among you who can support a wife should marry, for it restrains eyes and preserves from immorality. But he who can't afford it should observe fast, for it's a means of controlling desires. That's in Muslim, book 8, hadith number 3233. And did you know that in your sexual reproduction lessons, you are told, because I know I'm a teacher and it's on the curriculum, that masturbation is okay. Now masturbation is where yourself, you have pleasure by doing things yourself to your body. Do you think that is allowed in Islam when Allah has said to get married to satisfy those desires? Some of you are nodding your head, no. So in Islam, the natural way to have pleasure is to get married, okay? But to do masturbation is artificially trying to do that yourself. And that is on your curriculum, and it's taught actually from year 8 onwards in the area where I live in, year 8 onwards. So this is why I'm covering this today with the older girls. So we are not allowed to delve into masturbation. What you hear in the schools is according to what the school teaches, but I'm telling you according to what Islam teaches us, okay? Fornication is any sexual relationships outside of marriage. So we're looking mainly at boyfriend-girlfriend relationships before people get married. That is not allowed. And zina is the Arabic word, and it leads to hellfire. Okay? Again, for that, there is a very big punishment. Now, again, in your sexual reproduction lessons, they may talk about taking the pill, and then it's okay to have relationships outside of marriage because you can't have babies once you're on the pill. But in Islam, because fornication is not allowed, you would not be allowed to take the pill and then engage in that kind of relationship. It would not be allowed. Okay? Although they will tell you in school that it is okay to do that. Yes, it's okay to do that, but not in our religion. In Islam, fornication has a big, big punishment. Here is the punishment. Any woman, any fornicatress or the fornicator, flog each of them with 100 stripes. Let not pity withhold you in their case, in a punishment prescribed by Allah. If you believe in Allah and the last day, and let a party of believers witness their punishment. That is in Quran, Surah Nur, the light, chapter 24, verse 2. Did you also know that with adultery and fornication, there are very strong punishments because Allah is trying to stop you doing it in the first place. Okay? He's actually stopping you to trying in the first place. If the punishment's really harsh, you're not even going to go there, are you? Okay? And in Islamic countries where there is Sharia law practiced in the laws, in parliament, this does actually happen. But did you know nobody actually even does it because of the harsh law that goes with it? So it doesn't happen in the first place. So girlfriend and boyfriend relationships are completely haram in Islam. The only way to make that relationship halal is to get married. Okay? So you're worth more than being someone's girlfriend or boyfriend. Either you're married or you're not. Do not glorify haram relationships. A husband wants to complete half of your deen, but a boyfriend wants to destroy whatever deen you have left. That's basically the way it is in Islam. Okay? Now, in Islam, because of those sins, adultery and fornication, they're very, very big. Even the little sins that we do can lead up to the big, big sin. This is like a dominoes trail, and it's got little sins which lead up to the giant sin, which is fornication and adultery. Did you know Islam closes all avenues and means leading to this fornication in the first place, including stimulating desires? Can anybody give me some examples of what Allah has put in place for us so we don't even get there in the first place? We really must have some hands up now. There's a lot of you. Come on, don't be shy. Just tell me whatever answers you need. Yes?
He gave us Islamic books to look.
Okay, so he's given us the laws. Don't go into fornication, don't go into adultery. But what else little things are there? Why are we dressed the way we are? Why are you all in black? Do you actually know why? Why are you all completely dressed in black? And some of your teachers have actually got niqabs on. Why? Yes?
Not to attract attention.
Good. Not to attract attention from who?
Men.
Men. Okay? So, putting on what you're wearing today, putting on what I'm wearing today, is stopping the little sin which may lead to fornication and adultery. Because any man who sees you like this will see you and say, do you know what? She's a practicing girl, she's a Muslim, I'm not allowed to flirt with her. It's a uniform which straight away says, no thank you, I'm like a nun. Does that make sense? It tells you, I'm like a nun, don't come near me, go away. That's basically what it says. And did you know it has a huge difference? Okay? Some of your mums may be able to tell you stories that how men behaved when they didn't wear hijabs and niqabs, and now how men behave, and there's a big difference. Big difference. I never used to always wear the hijab. Not when I was your age, I didn't wear the hijab. And yes, I used to get chatted up and all sorts. I won't go into that. And then as soon as I put the hijab on, the men stayed away. I thought, this is good. this keeps them away, doesn't it? Because straight away you're putting a board up saying, I'm a nun, stay away from me. Okay? It stops men harassing you. Okay? So we're not allowed to flirt around either with men who we can marry. We're not allowed to flirt about with them. Okay? So he's committing a big sin, but she's not dressed right, is she? Is she dressed right?
No.
No, her skirt's short, her hair's out, okay? She's flattering her eyelashes. Look at how big her eyelashes are. That's leading men on, okay? And it's very, very important to understand that it's women, men have to lower their gaze, but it's women who have to really be covered and behave in an appropriate way. Do you know why that is? Because men have got stronger desires. Men have got a lot more testosterone in their bodies. They get hyped up more. When they see beautiful girls, they get all excited. Their big teeth come out like that, okay? So us women, we have to protect ourselves. Us women, we are like beautiful flowers. Did you know? And did you know men are always on the lookout, looking out for girls no matter how old they are, by the way. They're always out there so that they can procreate. Procreate means get girls, marry them and have babies. Get attracted to them and have children. Because that is one of the reasons why we were created. We were created to procreate. So we have to really guard ourselves a lot. Okay? So, us women are like beautiful flowers. So think of flowers. They're attractive. Okay? We have a tendency to dress up in lovely clothes, naturally from Allah, to attract the men. Okay? Ladies on the whole do dress up more beautiful and more colourful as well, to attract the men. Did you know that's a natural tendency in us? Men always wear bland colours, women always wear bright colours. Okay? They got softer skin, they're more fairer in colour. The men are always darker in colour. We're the more beautiful out of the two genders, aren't we? Okay? And also, we are like flowers, beautiful flowers that attract the bees. The bees are the men. Okay? The more beautiful the flower, the more colourful, the more perfumed, the more open it is, sticking up, it will attract the men, which are the bees, who will come, take the nectar out and make the babies, make more beautiful flowers. This is so interesting. This is nature, isn't it? Don't you know that insects come to flowers and they carry pollen, get pollen on their bodies, and then they go to another male part of the flower, and then it makes seeds and all the rest. Okay? So think of yourself as flowers, and think of yourself that if you think of flowers at night, they close up. Why do they close up at night? Because they don't need to attract the bees anymore. They open up during the day to attract the bees, the men, so that they can get fertilized. So we have to be closed flowers. Or we have to be like this. Look at that lollipop, it's got a hijab on it. Okay? And the bee doesn't go nowhere near it, does it? And look at that one with her hair out. And the bees are all going all over that lollipop. Which one would you like to choose out of those two to eat? The one on the left. Okay? This is what it's like. So really we have to keep pure. So we are like this lollipop when we get married. We have to be kept pure. We're not to be used by men and become dirty and then get married. Nobody's going to marry us. They're going to say, she's used already, another man's looked at her. Okay? We have to try and be like the covered lollipop. And it is very, very important that even though a man is responsible for his own gaze, you as women or young girls are responsible for what you give them to gaze at. So somebody like this is not good, is it? She's still attractive, she's got a hijab on, but look at that, full makeup, jewellery, bright colors, okay? The purpose of hijab is to divert attention from beauty, not to bring attention to it. Okay, so try to avoid excessively decorating yourself. If your way of wearing the hijab attracts others, know what your hijab needs, that your hijab needs correction. Keep your hijab as simple as possible. And it does tell you in the Quran that they should not display their beauty and ornaments except what must ordinarily appear thereof. And that's in Surah Nur, Quran chapter 24, verses 30 to 31. Okay? There are certain bits of makeup that we may be able to wear. For example, you are allowed to wear kajal, that's allowed. Perfumes within your own houses. You can wear a little clip here for your to keep your hijab in place, but not a big giant brooch to attract attention. It's within limits, isn't it? It is within limits. Again, hair should not be out at all. No naked parts of your body should be showing. This is actually rife amongst the Muslim culture. Someone may be wearing a hijab and then all their arms are sleeveless. I've actually come across a girl at a wedding. She was queuing up to read Salah, and I'm not joking, she was wearing a hijab and she was completely sleeveless. And you know what I'm like from my videos. I went up to her and I said, "Excuse me, sister, you can't read Salah like that. You need to put on a cardigan or a shawl to cover your arms." This is how we need to understand what hijab is all about. So no hair, no naked parts of our body, no tight clothes. Okay? What's the point of wearing an abaya if it's skin tight and you can see all the shape of your body? Did you know that women are shaped in such a way to attract the men? We have certain parts of our body which have got a lot more fat in them. That's there to attract the men, did you know? So we have to be careful. Loose-fitting clothes, very, very important. Now, the other very important thing is that if we see anything on our mobile phones, social media is out there big time, then it's the same ruling. You lower your gaze, okay? If you might see a man on there with his chest showing and stuff, hero out there, some of you are saying, and some of you are saying, yeah, you look away. You lower your gaze. You scroll away, okay? Pornography is rife out there, astaghfirullah. It is rife out there. And if you haven't come across it now, you may do when you go to college and university. I work in a university and it's rife out there. We are not allowed to look at any other naked bodies apart from our own husbands who we marry later on. It is haram, okay? And we are not allowed to look at other people having a relationship either, because it's like being in that relationship. Did you know? You're actually committing zina of your eyes when you look at pornography. And shaitan wants you to do it. It's addictive. It's addictive like gambling. It's like an intoxicant. So please do not even go anywhere near it. Even if anybody shows you, say, "No, sorry, I don't want to know." You're Muslim, you know all your deeds are shown to Allah on the Day of Judgment. Okay? So it is very, very important, including television. Okay? They do show all sorts nowadays. Even on the adverts, they're showing all sorts nowadays. You do the old-fashioned way. What happened when I was a child, we quickly switched the channel over. Okay? That's what I did. We didn't have so many different channels, we just switched the channel over. Okay? That is what you need to do. And anything in the newspapers as well, or magazines. You might be waiting at the doctor's surgery and you might be flicking through a magazine and you see something haram, you flick away. Okay? It can happen because it's out there everywhere. And internet as well. So we're looking at mobile phones, televisions, internet and newspapers. Okay? It's not just the way you dress, we also have to have a look at the way we behave as well. Okay? It is not just all about dress. You might be dressed the way you are and you might go out and you might be flirting around. So hijab includes the way a person walks, talks, looks and thinks, all of it should be done modestly and applies to both men and women. Hijab isn't only about clothes. Hijab includes moral conduct, behavior, attitude and intentions, the niyyah as well of the individual. Hijab also means lowering the gaze to avoid the sins of the eye and the heart. Did you know, have you ever heard of love at first sight? So when you look at someone who you like, that's when the disease of the heart comes in and you fall in love. Love at first sight. Some of you might have heard of that. So it's important to lower your gaze there as well. Okay? Now when we look at other kinds of behavior, you just need to look at animals. Some animals, the crab actually gets his claws and goes like this, come over here. There's so many different ones. Some of them laugh out loud. The laughing hyena will laugh out loud to attract the men. So make sure you're not laughing out loud in public and things like that. Okay? There are so many. Some of them put perfume on. Have you ever heard of the musk and the deer? They have perfume to attract the men. This is all animal behavior. Okay? So no perfume allowed, that kind of stuff. We are not allowed to touch the opposite gender, like shaking hands and things as well. If you are in an interview situation, that is different because your intention is different. But even then, if it's a Muslim man and he puts his hand forward, what can you say to that Muslim man? Say he's got a big beard and he's got an imam's outfit on and he puts his hand forward and says, Assalamu alaikum. What do you do then? Come on, put your hand up. What would you do? Yes?
Reply.
You'd say Assalamu alaikum, but would you put your hand forward? No. Because did you know that when you touch the opposite gender's hand, it releases oxytocin, which is a very, very interesting chemical which stimulates your desires. So especially if it's a Muslim man says, sorry, I've actually done it myself. I went into a school and the head teacher was Muslim and he put his hand forward to shake my hand. I said, sorry. I said, don't you know, because they should know better, to be honest. A Muslim should know better. And if he does try and touch you, he's got bad intentions up there. Okay? But if it's an interview situation, that is different. I have met Prince Charles and he put his hand forward and that was in Buckingham Palace and I couldn't exactly say, sorry, I can't shake your hand there, could I? So then I just did. So it depends on the situation, okay? But I'm looking at every day when you go out and things. So you're not allowed to shake hands. If one of you were to be stabbed in the head with an iron needle, would be better for him than touching a woman whom he is not permitted to touch. And that's Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's words. And also Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said, do not shake hands with women. Okay, and that's in Al-Nisai and Ibn Majah, two strong hadiths. So we have to be careful. Also, other interaction, like on the internet, if you suddenly start talking to boys, that's actually classed as fornication as well. You might be on Facebook and all of a sudden someone comes on and says, hi, what's your name? How old are you? You have to be very, very careful, okay? Also giving presents to the opposite gender. If you do need to give something maybe to your male teachers, make sure your dad's there with you or your brother, okay? Sometimes, I don't know about you, but in my situation, a brother may need some Islamic text. He asks me a question, for example, and I say, yes, I can get that hadith for you. And then I get my husband to give it to him. Or meet them in an Islamic place and give it to them in front of lots of people. It's halal that way. There are ways around it. But if it's like a bottle of musk or chocolate box, no, you don't need to do that. If it's Islamic, that's different because you're guiding them. In your situation, I don't think you'll come across that anyway. Okay? Mind you, you might come across it at school where you might have to give someone some coursework or something. You might have been in groups. If some of you go to mixed gender schools, and then you might need to give someone some coursework or something. Okay? If it's business, if it's work, fine. But if it's not, then it's not fine. Okay? Now, sexting is something that is out big time. Okay? Sexting is actually, there are talks about it going on in schools at the moment, and it's actually a way of grooming. We have to be very careful. You might be on the internet and a man or a boy might start texting you to try and entice you and may try to give you presents and groom you into doing all kinds of bad things. Did you know that all this leads to prostitution and sexual slavery, which is actually happening at the moment in Ilford Lane? Okay? So we have to be so careful. There is a targeting stage, which is at your age, girls. This is where you're targeted by boys. Targeting age. Then it leads to the forming a friendship stage. I'm your friend. I can help you with your homework. And then it goes to the loving relationship stage, where you fall in love with them. When you become too friendly with the opposite gender, you end up falling in love with them. Let me tell you something. You can call a brother and be like their brothers and sisters, but I'll tell you, in the end, you end up falling in love with them, because that's the way nature is. If you get very close to them, you end up falling in love with them, because that's what falling in love is when you become best friends, isn't it, with the opposite gender? So we have to be very careful. The love stage happens, and that's when the other person changes and he starts to abuse you. He'll ask to meet up with you. He'll say, don't tell your parents. He'll start giving you presents. And that's where the sexual assaults, the physical violence, the threatening behavior, the trickery, and even bribery. Even bribery, I've seen it with my own eyes, where he may form such close relationships with you and say, right, I'm going to tell your dad, give me £10,000, like you see in the movies. It happens in real life. So be very careful. E-safety is very important. And did you know that Muslim girls are targets? Because non-Muslims, they want to crop up Islam. They want to crop up the Muslim girls. Okay? So e-safety, please be very vigilant. And this is all social media, not just internet, not just Facebook or Twitter, but also WhatsApp as well. If you're in a group with other boys in there, they can very easily get hold of your phone number and start ringing you. I get it, but I'm an adult and I can control myself. Viber as well. Viber, you get all sorts of international people joining on. Okay? What's the other one? Snapchat. Snapchat's the other one. Twitter, all of them. Very bad. Snapchat's the one where you can't even delete your photo. And somebody might ask you for a photo of yourself, and you send them a photo and then they can spread it around. Do you know, I know girls where this has happened. You think, oh, it doesn't matter, he's not going to do nothing with it. I'm in a hijab anyway. They get the photo and it spreads around all over Facebook. Okay? That's not your mahram, is it? You do not need to send anybody who you do not know a photo of yourself. Okay? This is some language which is being used nowadays as I speak. It's being used. These emojis, you need to keep an eye on these, especially if the opposite gender is sending you these. So that one, there's a heart coming out of his mouth. You have to be careful. If you send that to a girl, that's different. Okay? That one, there's hearts on the eyes. There's a wink there. That's something a man will do. Also, all kinds of stuff. All of those. I don't really want to go into them, but a mouth with a tongue is not good either. These are all out there. This is actually done at primary school level, this talk, which I've taken this out of. Okay? All of these things, and sometimes someone can send you fruit or a camera. Even the fruit means something else, did you know? And a camera means show me a photo of yourself. Be very careful at your age, okay? And you should never be on your own with another boy. Never be on your own with another boy. The Messenger of Allah said, when a non-mahram man and woman meet in privacy, the third one present is shaitan. So he goes, hi there, she goes, hi there. She's wearing a hijab, she thinks it's safe. And then up comes shaitan, hi there. Okay, so shaitan is out there in the middle of both of those. So we have to be careful. If you are going to meet someone, meet them in a public place, like a masjid. If someone wants to meet you to give you some coursework, okay, then I'll meet you here in the masjid. Then you can't go wrong then, can you? Where there's lots of other people and they wouldn't dare do anything in Allah's house, would they? Okay? So be very careful. Now, these are all the people that we are not allowed to marry. Okay? These are our mahrams. So we're not allowed to marry our fathers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, grandsons, great-grandsons, also our brothers, our biological nephews, okay, all our uncles. We are not allowed to marry any of them because that is the prohibitions within Islam, but cousins you can. Okay, we know that because even at the time of the Prophet, people did marry within cousins. In fact, they did in the royal family just decades ago. They did in the royal family as well. Okay, what other kinds of people are we not allowed to marry? Put your hand up. Or have relationships with. This is the main reason why I'm here, girls. There's your clue. Yes. Right, yes, that is one. That answer we got with the younger class, non-Muslims, because in Islam the children take on the religion of the father. And if the father's Muslim, the children are Muslim. Unless you convert him first to Islam. That's a good answer. Okay, let's have you there. We've got lots of my hands going up, which is brilliant. Yes.
The same gender.
Good. Excellent answer. Well done. We are not allowed to marry or have relationships with the same gender. Same-sex relationship is not allowed in Islam. It tells you in the Quran, and fear Allah, verily Allah is severe in punishment. That's in chapter 59, verse 7. So we will put a big cross on there. Does anybody know why we are not allowed to have a relationship or marry the same gender? What is the main reason? Yes. Did you have your hand up there? Yep, come on then.
Because they
Okay, shall we have the girl behind you?
because they can't make babies.
Good. This is good. You got that right here, haven't you? Because the other class said the same. Well done. Because only opposite genders can naturally have babies. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made us to be opposites. Allah made Adam and he made Eve, Adam and Hawa. If he wanted to, he could have made two men, yes, or he could have made two women. But he didn't. He made one male and one female so that they could procreate. They were created to procreate. Created to procreate means to have children. So only a male and a female can naturally have children. Okay? If we had a male there, there'd be no child. If we had a female there, there'd be no child. Okay? Also, naturally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made each and every living creature into pairs. So, and we created you in pairs. And that's in Surah Quran, chapter 78, verse 08. Okay? And every single animal is made opposite to each other. Did you know? And if we look at Hazrat Noah alayhi salam's story, Prophet Noah, he took on the boat a male and a female. Why? So that in the future they can all reproduce and have children and make the world again. Because at that stage the whole world got destroyed apart from what was in the ark. So the male and the female of each animal then made more animals. Okay? Also, did you know that even flowers have a male and a female? All plants have a male and a female. And Allah has sent down water from the sky. With it have we produced diverse pairs of plants, each separate from the other. That's in Quran chapter 20, verse 53. So it is so interesting that each and everything, even, did you know, other plants, not just flowers, have a male and a female, sometimes within the same plant as well. This is how the bees come and they get pollen on their bodies and then go to male plants and then make more of the same plant. This is how it's happened. Did you know that everything has an opposite? Even a magnet has a negative and a positive pole. Even ions, there's a plus and a negative ions, isn't there? Everything has a plus and a minus. It is absolutely amazing. Did you know even fruits have a male and a female? And he is the one who spread the earth and placed in it firm mountains and rivers, and from all of the fruits he made it into two pairs. He covers the night with the day. Indeed, in that surely are signs from people who ponder. That's in Surah Ar-Ra'd, chapter 13, verse 3. Isn't that amazing? Who can tell me a story where there were people delving into homosexuality and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a big calamity on the land? Which story? Yes. Good. Prophet Lut alayhi salam or Prophet Lot. Did you know that that story is also in the Bible and in the Torah? And it talks about men leaving their beautiful wives and going and having relationships with men. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got very angry with them. He said, how can you dare leave your beautiful wives and go off with the men? And he actually tried through Prophet Lot to stop them. But they didn't listen. The people of Lot denied the warning. Indeed, we sent upon them a storm of stones, except for Prophet Lot. We saved him before dawn as favor from us. Thus do we reward he who is grateful. That's in Surah Al-Qamar, the moon, chapter 54, verses 33 to 35. Not only was there stones, there was acid rain which came down. Did you know sulfuric acid came down in the rain and fell on top of the ground? And did you know that Angel Gabriel, Angel Jibreel alayhi salam, he got his wing and he put the whole land upside down. And that land is the lowest land on earth at the moment. It's in Jordan. And even now, the Dead Sea, I've been to the Dead Sea, is so full of acid and salt that bits of your skin disappear when you go in it. Okay? And did you know that it's really sticky and horrible and everything floats on it and there's no fishes that live in that sea? Okay? And nothing actually grows in that area. There are no plants, no trees. It's a very poverty area of Jordan. I've actually been there and seen it. So even now, Allah has showed us that, look at, this is what happens to these kinds of people. And he had already warned them of our sort, but they disputed the warning and they had demanded from him his guests. But we obliterated their eyes, saying, taste my punishment and warning, and there came upon them by morning an abiding punishment. That's again in the same Surah Al-Qamar, chapter 54, verses 36 to 40. And those guests, did you know, were handsome angels. That's what the Quran's talking about. These angels came to warn them, and those men started having feelings for those handsome men. And that's when Allah thought, enough is enough. That's it now. I'm going to send that calamity down. Okay, so that story is actually a very interesting example. We are also not allowed to dress differently to a female, and a male is not allowed to dress differently to a female. Abu Huraira radhiallahu anhu said, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursed the man who put on woman's clothing and the woman who put on man's clothing. That's in Dawood. Ibn Abbas narrated that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursed the men who act like women and the women who act like men. So clothes should not resemble that of the opposite gender. So you're in your lovely dresses, okay, but you would not be allowed to, for example, wear a shirt and tie and trousers and look like a man. okay, or cut your hair really, really short. Yes?
Are you allowed to wear a t-shirt?
You can wear a t-shirt, that's fine, but I'm talking about purely characteristic clothing that is only there for men. Okay? And according to Islam, did you know that destiny is actually one of the Iman Mufassal, which is the declaration of Islamic faith, the 7 things essential for Muslims to believe in. One of them is in the pure destiny, okay? And belief in the life, belief in all good and bad, we believe is all from Allah. So what we believe is that Allah, if He made us women, then we're not allowed to change our gender, okay? We are not allowed to change our gender from what Allah has made us naturally. So if Allah has made a man, He's not allowed to become a woman, okay? So, no artificial hormones, no artificial changing of our body parts, our reproductive system, all of that, it's not allowed in Islam, okay? And did you know that even though Islam tells us all of this kind of stuff, do you think we are allowed to disrespect anybody who is of a homosexual nature? No, we're not allowed to. Do not cause harm nor respond to harm with harm, Prophet Muhammad said. Okay, if you look at the Surah Kafirun, to you is your religion, to them is their religion. Okay? As long as you stay on the right path, you have to answer to Allah on Qiyamah, they have to answer to Allah on Qiyamah. Okay? So in a school, you are not allowed to show any homophobic reaction to anything. If Ofsted inspectors come in, they will definitely ask you, especially in an Islamic area, they will 100% ask you. And all you say is, we treat everybody the same. Remember, it is the act we do not like, but that does not mean we don't like the people. Okay? I actually do know my old boss was a lesbian, and she was lovely. She was really nice. And even though I found out much later on she was a lesbian, I didn't change towards her. Because you know what? There's still people. You can pray that Allah guides them. Don't forget, some of these people may not believe in Allah. They may be far away from religion. But we, alhamdulillah, as part of Islam, are really strong in our religion. And we are very lucky. We have the Quran, which is unchanged since 1400 years. The Quran is the word of Allah, and we go by it in black and white. Okay? Also remember that by the end of the times, this is a sign of the times, sign of Qiyamah. This is one of the signs, is that homosexuality will be on the rise. The Prophet Muhammad said there will come a time when holding on to your religion will be like holding burning coal. And that is in Tirmidhi 3058. So it is difficult, and we are coming into a very difficult patch. But like I said, it is in the government, it is in the national curriculum. And if I don't tell you about it now, you will definitely learn about it later on and come across it at university as well. Okay? I do have leaflets here, which are very important for you to give to your parents, because this is all about Islamic RSC and exercising parental rights. Okay? This is what they can do if they need to withdraw you out, but that's only at the moment, because later on it will become statutory. But all the details are here. There's also a website, www.islamicrse.org. www.islamicrse.org is the website for guidance. And there's also an email here, info@islamicrse.org, if your parents need more information. Okay? We will give those out to your teachers, who will pass them around. And now we're going to open the floor to questions on anything that I've covered today, on relationships and homosexuality, or hijab, or the roots to fornication, or the roots to adultery, that kind of stuff. Okay? If you can put your hands up now and ask as many questions as you need to, now is your chance. Yes, have you got a question? Anybody? Any of the teachers got any questions to start the ball rolling? If the teachers ask questions, the children will ask questions. Yes?
If someone as a Muslim says they're homosexual, how do you respond to them?
Right. According to the Quran, you're supposed to break off all ties with somebody like that. It tells you in the Quran, which, by the way, is less harsher than what's in the Bible. Do you know what it tells you in the Bible? It says, if you come across someone homosexual, kill them. It tells you that. And then everybody thinks that our religion is harsh. But in our Quran, it says, break off all ties with them until they come back onto the right path. So if they're your relative, you break off all ties. But do you know what I think is more important, even before you break off all ties, is to try and explain it to them the way I've explained it to you. I have told you now all the different reasons, the Adam and the Eve story, the male and the female flowering plants, the animals, the natural positive and minuses in everything, and then the Sodom and Gomorrah stories, Lot's story, Prophet Lot's story, all of that. Try and tell them, because do you know, they might not know. They might not know that's in the Quran. Because you know what the problem is with a lot of our culture? You'll read the Quran in Arabic and you won't know what's in it. This is a good madrasa where you're learning about Prophet Lot and you're learning about all these things. But believe me, I have been to madrasas, including the one where I work in, where some children don't come to Islamic studies. They just learn the Quran in Arabic and they leave as soon as they are 11. And that's it. And did you know, I have come across a Muslim boy in the madrasa where I teach. And I talked about the Prophet Lot story, and he came up to me and he said he didn't know and he was gay. He was 14 years old. Astaghfirullah. So do you know what? I called the parents in. I said it's so important the parents talk to their children about this. This is no longer the day and age where you stay quiet and you just let them go to school and they learn all about it in school thinking it's okay. Because did you know, in schools, colleges, universities, they teach you it's all okay to do all of that. So if parents don't talk to you about it, it is so bad, because what else is going to happen? You just got to put EastEnders on, you got to put adverts on, and it's the norm nowadays. And now they're teaching it at primary level. So parents need to wake up, they need to tell their children what is right and wrong. But also, we need more madrasas like this to invite speakers like myself or yourself, the teachers can now do this, to tell the children. It is not a topic to be shied away from. It really isn't, because it will have consequences. So it's very, very important. Okay? Yes, let's have a question. Pardon? I do have a YouTube channel. How did you guess that then? Yes, I have got a YouTube channel. Pardon? You've seen me, have you? Oh, okay. Yes, this talk will go on YouTube and it will go around all the mosques and madrasas. This is why we're doing it, to spread the knowledge. But there are also so many programs on there that you can watch, not just to do with this topic, but other teenage topics like drugs, okay, and smoking and hijab and marriage, okay? So many. You can learn so much by going on that YouTube channel. I will give you that YouTube channel in a minute, and you can all go home and look at other videos, because it's all Islam on there, okay? Okay, yes, let's have another question.
So I've had students where they told you in school they have these LGBTQ lessons.
Yes.
And I mean, being a part of it is important to be aware. but sometimes they encourage the Muslims, they target the Muslims to be okay with it, to normalize it.
Yes, they do.
So they
Yes.
say, students ask me, how do we stay away from these lessons? Because we don't want it to go into us and we normalize it within our minds.
Yes. Now, first of all, if your parents read this, it tells you clearly what they need to do, because at the moment they can withdraw you from those lessons until September 2020. Okay? That is when it will become legally there for you to learn in school. Now, believe it or not, as a teacher, I know there are hundreds of things in your curriculum. If your parents found out about that, you'd be out of that lesson within seconds. Masturbation is one. Taking the pill and freely having relationships is another one. A lot of parents don't know about that one. They know about this one because it's kicked up a big fuss. But it is so important that the parents educate the children at home on what it is at home, in your religion, in your cultural setting. Because all this, if they don't hear it from school, they'll hear it at college. If they don't hear it at college, they'll hear it at university. And you as parents are not going to be there to withdraw them yourselves from college and university as soon as they're 18, they're adults. And they may not themselves withdraw themselves because they will think, well, it's peer pressure, we will look different. Do you see? So I think better than that is to be aware all this is going on, because you're going to come across it in the future. When I went to university as a job, my eyes nearly popped out. That's when it all came to me. I didn't realise all this was going on at primary. I was a primary school teacher. I was hidden away from it all. And then all of a sudden, LGBT toilets, LGBT society, it's all out there. You're laughing, it's all out there, everywhere, LGBT toilets. Okay? The first time I came across this business was I was doing some training for Essex Police. I was doing some training for Essex Police. And I walked in, and it was all men there, the whole room full of men. And there was one woman sitting there, so I went and sat next to the woman. I thought I'd be safe there, I'll sit next to the woman before I did my training while I was waiting. And the woman turned around and said, "Hello there," in a big deep voice, and she had big hairy arms. And she had a real voice, but she looked like a woman. Oh my God, that's the first time I came across it. And she goes, "Hello there, I'm Peter, what's your name?" And I thought, what's going on here? Honestly, that's the first time I came across it. And that was, I would say, about 15 years ago that was. And since then, it's normal now. And then, do you know, when I went to the toilet, he was in the toilet as well. So, you might think you're sitting next to a woman and it's actually a man. You have to be aware that all this is going on anyway. Okay? Right, hope that answers that question. Any more questions? We've still got a couple of minutes and we've got more hands going up, so let's carry on.
What's the meaning of the rainbow flag?
The rainbow flag is actually a logo which acknowledges LGBT but accepts it as well. So in my job, if you wear that rainbow lanyard, it shows that you accept LGBT and you're all for them. Okay? I deliberately wore black and white today, by the way, for a reason. I did. I wore black and white today for a reason. To show, you know, that in Islam we don't. But like I said, if somebody is wearing that, you still have to respect their views. You're not allowed to start telling them, "Oh God, what'd you do that for?" and all this. Remember, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he preached his religion in a nice way, in a beautiful way, in a soft way, with love. Yes? He didn't start shouting about, did he? Okay? Right, any more questions? That was a very good question, yes?
What is transgender mean?
Transgender is when you change your gender into another gender you're not naturally. So a woman will take hormones to become a man. they'll get testosterone in their bodies, and a man will put estrogen in their bodies to become a woman. That's what that police officer must have done, the one I told you about. Okay? Yes.
Why can't girls turn into boys and boys turn into girls?
Because you are going against destiny. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made you a certain thing. We're not allowed to go against Allah's wishes. You are going against destiny if you change what Allah has willed for you. Okay? Yes.
What do you mean by LGBTQ toilets?
Pardon?
What do you mean by LGBTQ toilets?
LGBT toilets means any lesbian, gay, bisexual or transgender can use those toilets. Anybody who is from those 4 categories can use the toilets. Okay? These are everywhere in the public places. Everywhere you go. They're everywhere, honestly. You know the cricket match that just happened? Yeah. England against New Zealand. They had LGBT toilets. There are no people who went to that match, and they told me when they got back. They're in all public places. Okay? Right, any more questions? You're doing very well, by the way, with the questions. I want more. Yes.
What about the people who are attracted to men and women?
Right, if you are attracted to men and women, whatever you are, so say you're a girl, you have to suppress your feelings towards a girl. And you know what the difference also is? This is where people are getting mixed up. If it's a girl you like, you might just like them because they're a nice person and you're friends with them. But it's when the sexual desires kick in, that's different. Okay? A lot of girls are confused. Okay? Your teachers are my friends. That's different. Being friends with the same gender is different. But you wouldn't dream of marrying them, would you? Okay? That is where you have to suppress your feelings. Shaitan is everywhere. Shaitan makes you jealous. Shaitan makes you take your hijabs off. Shaitan makes you do lots and lots of bad things, but we fight against Shaitan. Likewise, we have to fight against any feelings that we have. And we know we can overcome them because it tells you in the Quran that you break off all ties with them until they return again to the right way, which means you can overcome your feelings. It can happen according to the Quran. You can overcome your feelings. Yes.
What if they say they're like buying something, yeah, and then you make them go like don't buy? Do you get reward for that?
Yes, you would get rewarded for that. If you told them the right way according to the Quran and suddenly they changed back again, what a brilliant reward. That would be like making a revert, wouldn't it? Back to Islam again. Yes.
What happens if like a person you don't like them but
Okay, can we all stay quiet so we can hear her, please? Yes. Say that again.
what happens if the person wants to be gay?
What happens if?
Not like a person, say for example there's like this girl and then she's like she's straight and then
Yes.
there's another girl that likes her but she doesn't like her.
Well, then the straight girl has to control herself, doesn't she? It's the straight girl then that will be judged as well, and she has to control herself. Okay? Right, one last question and then we have to finish. There was another question over here somewhere in the middle. Any more questions? Last question, if there is any.
Any more questions, girls?
Right, I think we'll stop then in that case. Okay? Okay, Jazakallah khair, everyone. You did very well there. Well done.
What do you say?
Barakallah feek.
What's your YouTube channel?
Oh, my YouTube channel. Gosh, will you be able to give it to them? Because, do you know, I don't even remember what it is. I don't know what it's Sidra Kadir Naeem. Is what you have to, when you go on YouTube, you go under Sidra, S-I-D-R-A, Kadir, Q-A-D-E-E-R, that's my dad's name, and Naeem, N-A-E-E-M, that's my husband's surname. So Sidra Kadir Naeem is what you go under YouTube, and then that will take you to my channel, and I've got nearly 200 videos on there. Yeah, your teacher can pass it all on to you.
Well, you need to go back to the mosque.
That's fine. Yeah, we'll stop.
Yes. Girls, if